Somebody say amen. Amen. It's a moment in our service now. We're going to ask our Reimagined folks, Sister Persia and our Sister Lynn Brantley, to come up for a Reimagined presentation. Give them a hand as they come.
I have my timer, trying to keep on track for all of us. So we're at the end of phase 1 to Reimagine Church, and I just want to review what we did in the last few months, and then I want to think about what goes forward in this church, right? So in phase 1, we decided we would take a look first. We went back to our mission statement, and we said, if this is our mission, do we know who we are? And the very first thing we did was we took a paper and we had blanks, and you needed to fill in the verbs, right? We are creating a safe environment. We are connecting people's needs to God's love. We are reconciling differences through Christ. And honestly, as we joke, Derek, just because for anyone who's in school, gentlemen, we did a bad job. Bad job. Like, I thought about doing percentages, and I thought, why do that? But we did a very, it wasn't good. We didn't know it once we removed the words, but we might have known some of the tenets of it because we used synonyms, but not necessarily the word. And so then we took those weeks and we went back and we reviewed each one of those. If this is who we are, do we know who we are and what it really means? And the first one was sharing God's love, and it got a little bit inverted, and it became how God's love was shared to you. And that section, we created a bulletin board, and that section was put up on people's thoughts. And the next, we went out of order, and Rayon did connecting people's needs with God's love. And he talked about how we go out and do that, right? He gave us time to reflect. He gave us a pencil with a verse, and we were asked to bring it back. And we have a few. And then the third was, or fourth, was creating a safe and welcoming environment. And we got a list of things. And so Megan just talked about one of them, right? Asher said open-mindedness. That was one of the things. And we talked afterwards a long time about if our church speaks to that we're open-minded, you can't just walk around and go say, hey, I'm open-minded. You must create a place that people know who you are when you walk in the door. And so we started to redefining space. We actually went on a little trip. We went on to a bookstore in New Haven called Possible Futures, and we looked at Lauren's space and said, how do we know who Lauren is by what speaks in this space? And then we came back and thought, how can we create that? And then the last was reconciling divisions, and Shelley did that piece around how we bring people together through Christ when there are divisions amongst us. And so today we were supposed to go back and fill in. It was supposed to be blank on the front, and we did not get that. Right? Once again, we failed in the beginning, we failed in the end. We're consistent, right? And so we're not going to ask you to fill it in again and see if we got better after all these weeks of reviewing it. But what I would ask you to do is go to the front of your bulletin and let's say it together. And let's just think about those pieces that we put together for 4 weeks, and then I'm going to ask Persia to talk about phase 2 in a short time also. So if you'll join me with the mission statement. The mission of the Hamden Plains United Methodist Church is sharing God's love by creating a safe and welcoming community, connecting people's needs with God's power, and reconciling divisions through Christ. So I'll turn it over to her because, we need to think about it as a community. Is this who we are? Do we need to go back and reflect on this? And is there changes that need to be made? What? But we know that as a team, and we hope to grow this team, we're committed to reimagine this church to make it successful.
So now that we know what we're rooted in. It's time for us to have some real conversations. So today after service, your Reimagined Church team has provided fellowship hour along with some stations so we can have some conversations. There's questions set up at different stations in the narthex, and a Reimagined Church team member will be at each station so we can talk to you individually and have some real conversation about what we can continue to do to reimagine. Thank you.
Amen. So let us make sure we stick around at the end of service and experience this reimagined conversation.